Welcome to the not the warm up program. This is the post-game podcast. I get very confused. No Jerry today, so Eddie Scozzare joins me.
Hello, podcast and YouTube people.
Oh, yeah, the podcast, and we're still crushing it on
Yeah,
YouTube,
we are.
upwards of 200 or so people. It is
At
really
least.
just rolling along. We'll be up to Joe Rogan numbers in no
Mm-hmm.
time. So, people occasionally will ask me what's going on with the drones in New Jersey, or they'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, "Oh, I guess those drones just went away." And the drones, in my neighborhood at least, have not gone away. But I'm looking out over the ocean, and I will tell you that every single night there's drones out over the ocean. Problem is, they don't do anything; they just fly. So there's nothing to report on, right? No one's told us what the drones are, and they're not doing anything other than doing their same kind of flight patterns that they've been doing since November 13th, I think was the first uh, time they were discovered. So, like, nothing's happening. Now, yesterday, someone did ask Donald Trump about it, and he said, "We're going to get you an answer." I don't know if we're going to really get a real answer, though.
Well, it depends on, when he's read in on all the security
Yeah.
issues. If it's something that the powers that be feel can be communicated to the public or not.
Yeah.
And it's something that once he has all the information, he may agree with them that this is something that should be kept under wraps.
Which would be interesting because he promised us twice now that he's going to tell us what it is.
Right. But that's all well and good. And politicians break promises all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And if this is a question of, national or world security, then it's understandable.
But I also find it odd that, and in both instances, the last two, yesterday when he was asked about it and the previous time he was asked about it, it seems like, unless he's a really good actor, that he doesn't know what it is either.
Mhm.
Like, he goes, "Yeah, I don't know what it is. Why would they not tell us?" He goes, "Well, it can't be the enemy, or we would have shot it down.
Mhm.
So I don't know what it is." But and then he's like, "Oh, let's get on that. Let's tell people. Let's find out what it is and tell people."
Mhm.
But if they're flying over Bedminster and his golf course and where he lives, there is no way he doesn't know what that is.
You would think.
Correct?
You would think.
It just
But
doesn't make any sense.
and if it is actual aliens, there could be an organization that supersedes the presidency somehow that's been
Yeah.
around for however many decades, which really dictates the policy in that regard.
I will tell you that the UFO community
Mhm.
that's on Twitter, which I am a part of now, I follow a lot of UFO
Mhm.
people. They are all the UFO people around the world feel like 2025 is the year of disclosure.
Mhm.
And they believe that the drones have something to do with this
Mhm.
and that we are going to be told what is going on. The people also feel like Trump is one that's going to tell us everything. But I think, like what you're saying, once he really knows, maybe he's not to say anything, and maybe he will even think it's better not to say anything.
Mhm. Is that right? Or may not be able because this other organization, this secret dark organization, has the true power. Who knows? Or maybe this organization is allied with an alien race and that's how it works. Who knows? But in terms of this year being the year,
Yeah.
I have heard that listening to George Norrie on Coast to Coast overnight. I've heard that many years.
They
This
keep
is
saying,
good.
like, this is the
This
year.
is yeah.
Because there were different things that made 2025 the year.
Mhm.
Like, there was something that happened in the year 2000 where there's a guy on video and he says, this will be under wraps until the year 2025
Mhm.
when it will be released. There's also another guy who's very big in the UFO community, Jeremy Corbett, I think his name is. He works with that guy, George Knapp,
Yes.
investigative
Who
reporter,
is a
who,
part-time host
yeah, who
on
sometimes fills in.
yeah, so usually on Mondays.
So his claim, I believe, is that they're going to slowly try to disclose to people that UFOs are real. And the way they're going to do that is that this year they're going to tell us that they've got intel that says a ship is on its way and it will be here in 2027
Mhm.
to give us 2 years to slowly prepare for that.
Right, and that sort of slow release
Yeah.
has been an idea in, not fan fiction, in science fiction and, movies where you sort of instead of just all of a sudden, "Hey,
Yeah.
here's the aliens. They don't wanna eat us." It'd be very shocking, no matter what it is, that if you do it slowly, like you say, people after that first rush of news, people get bored with it
Yeah.
unless it's affecting their lives directly. So, hey, if there are aliens that have been in contact with certain members of our governments, that's for me, that's hopeful because A, they're capable of interstellar travel, so they're very advanced. B, they don't want to destroy us because if they wanted to, they would have already very easily, somehow, with a planet-wide disease or whatever, however they want to do it, they could easily do it if they're
Yes.
capable of interstellar travel. You would think that that would be no problem for them. And then C, also hopeful because if they're here and they have this technology, perhaps they can help us with some of our problems.
And a lot more people have come out recently that have credentials that seem legitimate, military people
Mhm.
that have said they've been part of these UFO retrieval programs. And a video came out earlier this week, or it was came out Saturday, of a supposed craft retrieval where they retrieved an egg shaped object. Now the
Mhm.
problem was we were promised this on like Friday, like tomorrow on News Nation. This guy Ross, something or other, he's a big UFO guy. He's interviewing this whistleblower who does have really good credentials, and he's got the first videotape of the alien retrieval. It's going to blow your mind. Well, the video was shot in night vision, so it's green and
Mhm.
black, and it does show what appears to be, but who know, almost like a helicopter, but from the view of inside the helicopter of like carrying this egg-like object, but it could be anything. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like the
Right.
way the video is. And then another one came out this morning of a retrieval program from 2022 in Antarctica that is a very similar thing. So they look the same, but they're both shot in night vision, green and black.
Yeah, it doesn't sell.
It doesn't sell. And it makes the people who are skeptical go, look at you people keep promising me
Right.
things and you're delivering me green and black videos.
Right, or the Tic Tac video, which
Yeah.
is grainy and whatever.
Yeah, and like shot from
A fighter jet.
yeah, and not even the clear video that you could get on a fighter jet.
Right.
It's taken off the radar screen or
Mhm.
something. So that's just like, so I don't know. I don't know if I'm just now exposed to these people more, so I'm getting it's happening this year, it's happening in 2 years,
Mhm.
that you've been hearing for a long time,
Yes.
listening to, the George Norrie
Mhm.
overnight radio program where he talks about all these things.
Yeah. Yeah, and listen, I want to believe.
Yeah.
I don't, but I want to.
You know what I find really interesting? The old paintings that UFOs are in. Some of them are really fascinating.
Mhm.
Someone put one out, I retweeted it a couple days ago. It was from the 1600s, and it's like these little um, egg looking things up in the sky with one person piloting it. And it's like from
Mm.
the 1600s, and there's
Yeah.
one in each corner.
Yeah. Yeah, right, it is very strange. I know people have painted, there are historical depictions in art of comets
Hmm.
and meteor showers, that sort of thing, but not with a person on it.
Yeah, there's one called, and this one I think is from the 1800s, called the Baptism of Christ.
Mhm.
And it's Jesus and a disc-shaped object shining a light down on
Which is
him.
not the Star of Bethlehem.
Yeah, that one is incredible to me.
Mhm.
I think like, okay, so is it possible that these have just been myths in our lives, right? So we always believed something was out there, and we always like, because I can ask anybody to draw me an alien, and most people will draw like a gray,
Mhm.
right? They may color it green or color it gray, but it'll be no hair, big black eyes, slit for a mouth. Like everyone will draw that.
Right. Yeah, that's what's in our heads.
Right. That doesn't mean it really exists.
Of course not. It's just like sort of just a common meme, if you will.
Like s- I can draw a unicorn.
Mhm.
Unicorns don't exist,
Right.
but I know what it is if you say to me, "Draw a unicorn."
Right. It's a white horse with a horn.
Yeah.
That's a unicorn, right?
Yeah.
Or a dragon
Or a dragon. Right.
with wings.
Which don't exist, but I know how to draw one. I
Right.
can draw you one.
Mhm.
So it's so interesting. I really want to know about the drones just because I can see it every night.
Sure.
And
And
I saw one last night, and it's so dark out over the ocean. It's so dark,
yes.
right? So there was this big ball of light that was just sitting up there. And then it slowly made its way down to the horizon and it just looked like on the ocean.
Mhm.
I can't see it. Even with binoculars, it's just a bright
Right.
light.
And when you say slowly, it's over a course of a few minutes.
Yeah.
So
Not
not
even.
not a planet because
Yeah.
those wouldn't move that fast. They
Yeah.
move, but not that fast.
Yeah. No, this is like in the time that I walked 3 blocks with my dog, it went from high up to ocean level,
Have
but
you
so far out there.
have you seen any others that the thing that you draw of when I was on vacation with the
The
them
ship that I
descending
saw?
onto the square
No,
like
I have
ship.
not seen that. I haven't seen that
And
out
also
there.
you gotta match up that new app you downloaded, the
Yes.
Stargazer.
Yeah, I downloaded this. Let me see what the name of the app is because I see this night sky. It's called.
Mhm.
I see this, and I'm not suggesting this is a UFO or a drone, or I just don't know what it is. It's a very bright light in the sky. It's there every night in the same position.
Now now I don't know with the light pollution, which is less when you're
Yeah.
looking out over the ocean. You see stars.
Oh yeah, tons of
Now,
stars.
when you see this bright object, is it obviously it's much brighter, but is it say, you know, 8 times, 5 times larger than a star or even bigger than that?
Yeah.
Because
So
I can sort of I know when I'm looking at Venus, I can
yeah,
see
that's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it
mhm,
Venus? Is it a satellite?
but they're still small.
Yeah, this is a good size, much bigger than a star. And where it's not sitting out over the ocean. So if I'm looking at the ocean, it's behind me.
Mhm.
But the entire ride up to work when I'm going up the parkway, it's just sitting right there. And it's so bright. I don't know what it
Not brighter
is.
than the full moon,
Yeah, kind of bright like that, but
mm,
smaller. But
but
it's bigger than a circle,
mhm.
and it's not circle shape. It's almost like tic tac shape, but turned the long ways,
Yeah,
and just
well, I
super
mean,
bright. I'm sure
I
it's a planet or something.
well, and, when 'cause, sometimes we'll go out and look for the ISS, the International Space Station, and there's, like, an app for that where
Yeah,
you can they tell you what, like, where it'll be going from northeast to southwest or whatever, and at what angle, and obviously, you want a bigger angle because if you're unless you're like you and near the ocean where you have a much bigger field of view, if you're in a neighborhood with houses and trees, it's gotta be at a good angle to be able to see it, and that thing moves pretty fast
yeah,
when you see it. You can see it and track it. Once you pick it out, you just look for something that's moving really fast, like faster than a plane, and you can watch it, but it's dim, and you can watch it track across the sky. I don't know if that would be in your night sky
yeah,
thing
yeah. I'm not
either,
sure.
but there's a regular pattern to how and when that moves across. But that would not be what you're seeing, what you described to me on your drive up, because that thing moves and it's only visible for like a few minutes
Yeah, no,
and then it's gone. It
this is
tracks
consistent
across. Yeah.
from the time I go out with my dog at night to the time I come in. It's just
Hmm.
sitting out there. So I don't know what it
And
is,
you can
but
also see it if you look for it when you're driving.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's weird. Like looking out over the ocean on a clear night, and you said like the light pollution is less out there.
Hmm.
It is really interesting what goes on out there because you have the layer of stars which are way up. Then you have the next layer down. You'll see airplanes. Then the next layer down is the drones floating around, and there's just so many different layers of lights, and you don't realize. Now that I'm looking up into the sky, And that's what they're saying. Oh, people are looking into the sky and they're seeing all these things that have always existed. You just
Mhm.
never looked, right? So maybe there are satellites, and there's the Starlink that Elon Musk put
Right. I
up
mean,
out
there
there.
are you can people I know the space station is larger, that's why it's easier to track, and I don't
Yeah,
know if it's I don't think it's in low Earth orbit. I think it's a little higher than that. I don't know. I'm just could be talking out of my ass. But you could be seeing a communication satellite in a geosynchronous orbit, meaning it's always above the same place. It never doesn't move
yeah,
like other satellites or the space station, which are in motion all the time. Could be a geosynchronous satellite.
yeah. I'm hoping maybe someone will hear this and they'll know. Oh, that
Sure.
big bright light is
And
Venus.
it may right, it could be that, but, that would move over slowly over, weeks or what have you. And it could be something that might show up in your, that app, the night skies
Yeah,
situation. They may actually have some known satellites, in there too. I don't know. I'm
yeah.
not
I'd have to
familiar with
look.
that app.
Yeah, me neither. Not yet. Take a look at it. I got all sorts of apps now looking to see what's going on in the
Yeah.
ocean. I got the app that tells you which boats are out there.
Mhm.
I've got an app to tell you which airplanes are flying by. Now I've got this app to tell me which stars and planets I'm seeing.
And when you say, the ships are they, like tankers, cargo
Yeah, they
transport,
got everything that's out there. I guess anything that's legally out there that has to.
and that's not military that we're not
Yeah,
disclosing?
yeah. Most of the stuff when I see ships and I'm like, what is that thing? And I click on the app. Most of the time it's a container ship
Mhm.
or
Which are
some.
huge.
Yeah, huge.
Not as big as the super tankers though, but
No.
big.
Yeah, I also see a lot of like, and I would think that would slow down this time of year. A lot of like cruise ships out there.
Mhm.
They're just sitting out there fully lit up, and it's like 2 in the morning. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess they leave out of Bayonne, right? Don't they? Some of
Yeah,
them,
some that
and
leave
some
out of
off
Beyond.
the west side
Yep.
of Manhattan.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just moving slowly into port or out of port or whatever. Who
I also
knows?
think it's odd that I can have an app for free that tells me which every plane that's going over.
Mhm.
That seems weird. Like, should I have that information
Um,
if I'm like a bad guy?
well, I mean, I think the bad guys would be able to find that information if they wanted to.
Like that I could know like that's JetBlue going
Right. That
from
right. Yeah, if that's out of Newark
y-
headed to Fort
yeah, I
Lauderdale.
don't think I should know that. I don't think the general public should know what planes flying above.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the information is out there,
Yeah.
and if you have any sort of reckoning sense, you could figure things out.
Just like it's weird to me that I could listen on a police scanner,
Yeah, that is odd to me
right?
too.
Like I'm a bad guy. I'm just listening to the police scanner.
Which they do.
They do, right?
Sure. Yeah, well,
Man.
certain bad guys, I'm sure, are tuned into that.
Yeah. I know we get too much information.
Yeah, it's all out there.
I could listen to police, fire, look at ships, look at airplanes, look at stars,
Mhm. Well, the stars, that's
but it could tell me what it is.
yeah, that's true, yeah.
Like there's one constellation that looks like 3 stars in a row all the
Mhm.
time, but somebody told me that's Starlink. That I'd
Oh,
have to look
okay.
to see what Starlink is, if that's what it is.
And you've seen the Big Dipper, right?
Yeah, yeah. I never when I was a kid, I could never figure it out. I'm like, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah.
Like, I could never see the connecting lines,
Yeah,
right?
I see the Big Dipper, the Little Dipper is harder, and some of the others which are like, you know, like, oh, that's, a Cassiopeia or
Yeah, like, so
Orion,
detailed.
yeah, and oh, but it's like you really have to have an imagination to connect the lines,
Yeah,
and those stars have moved in the 2,000 years since some of them were, you know, uh, made into those constellations,
yeah.
Taurus and Virgo and Scorpio and all this stuff.
I also think, like, some days we get, like, this gigantic moon, like,
Mhm.
a couple of days ago, the moon was so gigantic, and it was just sitting on the water.
Yeah.
That had to frighten people, caveman era.
Well, no, because,
No?
they've seen it, like, all the time,
But I'm
so
saying, like, the first time you saw it, you're like, "Why is this
well,
planet
yeah,
so close to me?"
well, if they had, if they had parents, their parents would
Oh, they would know.
tell, yeah, and they would kinda say, "Oh, that's the moon," and, and some, different times of the year it looks bigger, and certainly when it's near the horizon, it's going to look bigger. And there's some physics involved with that, and optics and all. But and then if it's a blood moon and all this other stuff, and then what it really had to freak him out was when there was an eclipse, and then even more a solar eclipse. Like,
Yeah.
is the sun ever coming back? That
We've
that
lost the sun.
that would freak him out. But a lot of the ancients figured those things out, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, that when you watch some of those, the history of man and all that,
Hmm.
it is incredible what, uh,
Yeah.
and then seeing the old sculptures and the old buildings and
Hmm.
really unbelievable.
Yeah, that they did it with no technology, so to
Yeah.
speak, that just their brains. I mean, there's always smarter people in a crowd, and there's not a lot to distract you in those days.
Right, what else are you doing all day?
Once you got to the point where you had a steady food and water source and shelter,
Right,
if that was taken care of, then hey, let's look up, let's see what's going on,
and you had all day to spend on your sculpture too,
or that, yeah.
right?
Hmm.
There was no Twitter, I don't think,
No,
back
probably
then,
not. Yeah,
or television,
no,
or radio.
or radio.
All right, Eddie, let's do the warm-up program.
All right,
I did that with CeeLo,
you did.
but Jerry will be back tomorrow,
Yes, he will.
he claims.
Just a 1 day Penn State situation.
Correct. All right, we will see you tomorrow on a Wednesday. Well, Phil Sims Wednesday tomorrow.
Yeah.
So